Hello friends, and welcome back to the Pharma Awareness channel. In today's video, we'll be discussing an important update, the USFDA Warning Letter issued to Hikal Pharmaceuticals Limited. All the information shared in this video has been collected directly from the official USFDA website, so you are getting authentic and verified details. Make sure to watch this video until the end to understand each point mentioned in the warning letter. Let's get started. The United States Food and Drug Administration, USFDA, recently inspected Hikal Limited's drug manufacturing facility, located in Jigani, Karnataka, India. The inspection took place from 3rd February to 7th February, 2025. Following this inspection, the FDA issued a warning letter summarizing significant deviations from current good manufacturing practices, CGMP, for active pharmaceutical ingredients, commonly known as APIs. According to the FDA, Hikal's methods, facilities, and controls for manufacturing, processing, packing, or holding APIs did not conform to CGMP standards. As a result, the FDA determined that the company's APIs are adulterated under Section 501(a)(2)(b) of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. The FDA also mentioned that they reviewed Hikal's response, submitted on 3rd March 2025, regarding the initial Form FDA 483 observations, along with subsequent correspondence. However, despite these responses, the agency noted several specific and serious deviations during their inspection. Let's now go through those key observations in detail. Now let's look at the first major finding from the FDA: failures by the quality unit to properly investigate and resolve complaints, specifically metal contamination in APIs. The FDA says Hikal received around 22 complaints since 2020 about metal particles in active ingredients. In one example, the complaint was for black particles in a batch manufactured after a facility modification. The firm's investigation suggested incomplete cleaning might be a cause, but concluded no exact root cause identified. The company also said the metal detector couldn't detect those particles. But the FDA found Hikal had not adequately qualified the metal detector's performance for the types of particles and equipment materials used, even though most of the equipment is made from metal that could shed particles. The firm referenced an industry guideline for technically unavoidable particles, a guideline that applies to excipients, not API manufacture, and relied on that to dismiss contamination as inherent. The FDA disagreed. The guideline requires evaluation of materials and mitigation strategies, and it does not excuse possible cleaning or equipment design deficiencies. Finally, while Hikal later requalified their detector and said it's working, the FDA noted that the current detector performance doesn't prove past batches were free from contamination, and the investigation didn't adequately evaluate equipment design, materials of construction, cleaning procedures, or in-process controls. In short, the root cause analysis was incomplete, and the corrective actions described didn't convincingly show that the problem was understood and permanently fixed. Next, FDA's warning letter focuses on ineffective corrective and preventive actions, or CAPA. According to the FDA, Hikal received numerous complaints about foreign material contamination in its active pharmaceutical ingredients. In one instance, a customer reported contamination involving 8 lots of a particular API. Hikal stated that CAPA had already been implemented for similar past complaints, yet 28 more complaints were received even after those CAPA were completed. The FDA noted that such recurring contamination issues show that earlier CAPAs were ineffective and that the root causes were never properly identified. The agency also criticized the risk assessment, saying it was not scientifically sound. The firm rated the risk as unlikely and gave it the lowest probability, even though multiple similar complaints had already occurred. In their response, Hikal mentioned hiring a third-party consultant to evaluate contamination issues and CAPA systems. However, the FDA found the response inadequate, as it did not include sufficient evidence of a comprehensive evaluation of contamination sources, equipment suitability, or process controls. The FDA has now asked Hikal to take specific actions, including conducting a full evaluation of retained samples for particulate contamination in all API lots distributed to the US that are still within their retest period, submitting a summary of test results from those retained samples, and if any products are found substandard, taking immediate corrective actions, such as customer notification or recall. Performing a comprehensive, independent review of their entire system for handling deviations, OS results, complaints, and investigations, along with a detailed action plan for strengthening CAPA systems and quality unit oversight. Finally, re-evaluate the suitability of all equipment, including metal detectors and other process controls, to ensure consistent product quality and contamination prevention. In simple terms, the FDA is saying, if problems keep recurring, your CAPA system isn't working. You need to find the real root cause, fix it properly, and verify that the fix is effective. Next observation: the FDA focuses on supplier qualification, or rather, the lack of an ongoing system to re-evaluate critical suppliers. Hikal's supplier procedure required corrective action only when a supplier's incoming rejection rate exceeded a set threshold. But it didn't require re-evaluating approved suppliers when problems appear later, during manufacturing or after customer complaints. The FDA points out a clear example: multiple customer complaints about particles that the firm concluded most likely came from a supplier of drums and lids. Hikal told the supplier about the issue yet kept getting complaints and did not promptly qualify alternate suppliers, increase oversight, or stop using the defective material. While Hikal updated its supplier procedure and suspended that drum supplier after inspection, the FDA found the response inadequate. The company didn't provide quality data for the new suppliers and didn't show a root cause analysis of why the supplier program failed in the first place. Bottom line, it's not enough to check incoming goods once. Critical suppliers must be monitored continuously, investigated when issues arise, and replaced or remediated promptly if they continue to supply defective materials. Finally, the FDA has outlined specific actions that Hikal must take in response to this warning letter. The agency has directed the company to perform a comprehensive and independent assessment of its entire quality management system, covering how it investigates deviations, complaints, out-of-specification results, and failures. Hikal must prepare a detailed action plan to fix these gaps, including improvements in investigation skills, scope determination, root cause evaluation, CAPA effectiveness, quality unit oversight, and written procedures, ensuring every phase of investigations is properly conducted. Secondly, the company must conduct an independent, full-scale review of its material system. This means verifying that all suppliers of components, containers, and closures are properly qualified, that materials consistently meet quality standards, and that appropriate expiry or retest dates are assigned. Based on this review, Hikal must provide a systemic CAPA plan to permanently strengthen its supplier qualification program and prevent the use of unsuitable raw materials or packaging components. The FDA also asked for a summary of quality metrics for Hikal's new drum and lid supplier, including inspection data, acceptance and rejection rates, defect types, complaint trends and analysis from the past 3 years. Additionally, the FDA reminded the company that it expects compliance with ICH-Q7, which is the international guideline for good manufacturing practices in API production. Given the seriousness of the deviations, the FDA strongly recommended that Hikal hire an external CGMP consultant to help assess its operations and ensure full compliance with US regulatory standards. In simple terms, the FDA is asking Hikal to completely overhaul its quality systems, verify supplier reliability, and bring in independent experts to ensure compliance with global manufacturing standards. In conclusion, the FDA makes it clear that the deviations listed in this warning letter are not exhaustive, meaning there could be other issues at the facility that were not mentioned. The company, Hikal Limited, is fully responsible for investigating all potential deviations, identifying their true causes, and implementing effective measures to prevent recurrence. The FDA also reminds Hikal that if the firm plans any action that could disrupt the drug supply, they must immediately contact the drug shortages staff at the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. This allows the FDA to work with the company to prevent shortages and protect patients who rely on these medicines. The letter strongly emphasizes that Hikal must correct all deviations promptly. Until compliance with CGMP is fully verified, the FDA may withhold approval of new applications or supplements that list Hikal as a manufacturer. Furthermore, the FDA warns that if the company fails to address these deviations, it may result in refusal of admission of Hikal's products into the United States under Section 801(a)(3) of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. Products may be detained or refused entry if their manufacturing methods or controls do not meet CGMP requirements, meaning they would be considered adulterated under US law. The letter concludes by directing Hikal to respond in writing within 15 working days of receiving the warning letter. The company must clearly specify what actions have been taken to correct the violations and prevent them from happening again. If any corrective actions cannot be completed within 15 days, the company must explain the reason for the delay and provide a timeline for completion. In short, the FDA expects a thorough, timely, and verified response from Hikal Limited to restore compliance and ensure the continued safety and quality of its pharmaceutical products. So, this warning letter from the USFDA sends a clear message: compliance with CGMP is not optional. Pharmaceutical companies must maintain robust systems, qualified suppliers, and effective quality controls to ensure patient safety and maintain global trust. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Pharma Awareness channel for more updates on regulatory actions and pharmaceutical news. Thank you.